Stafford is one of the best quarterbacks in NFC West. What team are you most scared to face in the NFC for the playoffs? So the pathway, the title of my stream was the pathway to a 49ers Super Bowl victory. Well, before we get to the Super Bowl, they have to get through the playoffs. And I think that because we've seen such a dominance, there's kind of this air of like sad, like a sigh, like kind of breathing out, just like, okay, they get the bye week, they're just gonna cruise to the Super Bowl. But if there were to be some hiccups, some bumps along the road, which teams would you be most scared to face? We've seen a couple interesting games the last week. We saw the Lions, Eagles, Cowboys, all those. So what teams would you prefer to face? Which teams would you maybe want to avoid if possible?
Yeah, and I'm trying to pull up the current like playoff picture. Obviously the 49ers are in the 1 seed. But there's the Cowboys, there's the Lions, the Rams have clinched their playoff spot. So just for Eagles, of course, and then there's a couple teams on the hunt who, this final week can help dictate that. But the Bucks and Packers probably can squeeze in too. So from those list of teams, the 49ers have won against all of those teams this season. So, I'd feel pretty confident in a rematch. But there's a reason that
about the Lions, but then I was
that one's an interesting one,
right? Because like I know that Jared Goff, in my opinion, Kyle Shanahan could potentially put him in a blender. So like it's hard to judge teams, right? Because we've seen the Lions offense, and I've been really impressed. I really like Dan Campbell's aggressiveness. I think he got a lot of shit in that last game for not ending up taking the points. But when you go back, the Lions didn't have a timeout anymore. So I think once they made the decision to go for it, I think that they kind of had to commit to that. Maybe I'm wrong, and they could have switched it to taking the field goal and playing for overtime. But the way that, because I saw a lot of like controversy about that, people were happy that he tried to go for it in the beginning. Also, though, I think and this goes back to like coach versus quarterback, like even though people gave him a lot of shit for going for it after they got the penalty and then going for it again, if Jared Goff makes a good pass there, they like going for it was the right option. It was a good play call. Like they could have won that game right there.
Yeah. I didn't watch that game, but I saw the whole. I saw what people were saying about it. But I'm not scared of the Lions. I'm not scared of the Cowboys.
Lions are not good against play action in their defense, which is like
their defense is not like as strong as you would have thought. Like I think early in the season, we all thought like the Lions defense, whoa, scary. Same thing with the Cowboys. Like their defense is kind of fizzled out. Like all of the other NFC teams, and actually Akash just put a tweet out on this, but like all the NFC teams, like since the bye week, or like mid-season, they're, I think, is it DVOA or they just haven't been ranked very high. Here's what he said.
I don't think maybe they have one of those things where if they win week 18 they can get in. But I was just reading this and I was like, I don't know if Green Bay's in the playoffs yet. But their defense does not scare me at all.
So put this so here's a cautious tweet. Since week 10, here's the defensive EPA per play ranks of NFC playoff teams. Cowboys are number 14, Lions number 26.
That's crazy.
Bucks number 18, Eagles 30th, Rams 13th, Packers 25th. So yeah, I think all of these defenses could be had. Who's
the coordinator for the Rams again? It's the same guy that it's been for a long time, right? He needs to be like a head coach or something. They're 13th. Isn't their only good
Raheem
player
Morris.
Aaron Donald on defense? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, Sean McVay has done a hell of a job with this Rams team this season. Like going into this year, I was like, dude, this is like a bottom 5 roster in the NFL. There's so many young players, so many like rookies, so many guys from like their last 2 drafts, and they put them all together, and they've hit a stride. And that's why I was worried about the week 18 game, if it was going to be a must-win game between these 2 teams. But I still kind of feel like that's the 49ers, maybe a team that I wouldn't want to face. But quite frankly, I don't know if they get to face the 49ers. We'll see. Although I think if the NFL, if the standings stand as they are right now, the seeding, the Lions would have to play the Rams.
I
And
know.
I think the script writers would want the Rams to win that one. I don't know. There's just this gut feeling I have.
I like that. Why do I maybe it's like when you see like an underdog or like a team, like I felt this way about the Jaguars for a while. And I
Mhm.
feel this way about the Lions. Like even though it was better for the Lions to lose against the Cowboys, and I was like rooting for that in a 49er fan way, in a like NFL way, I wanted the Lions to win. You know what I mean? So if the
Yeah.
Rams and the Lions face off, I want the Lions to win because I'm like, they just suck. So just give them like, it's just very storybook to have them do well. But
Okay.
yeah, I
What
mean the
was the
Rams.
matchup?
I think what's most important, and I do once again I appreciate Dan Campbell's aggressiveness, but I think that the Rams would have a coaching advantage there, and then also a quarterback advantage there
Oh yeah.
with Stafford and Jared Goff for sure. Um, and then Stafford going back to Detroit. Yeah, we were talking about that.
So again, like
Um,
that would set up the 49ers. I think they would play, so let's just say the Lions and the Rams play, and then the Rams beat the Lions, then the 49ers would play the Rams in the divisional round, right?
Now, does that scare you? Someone in the comments were saying they had a little bit of PTSD from the former NFC Championship game.
Yeah, I mean it would scare me because the Rams are doing more with less. So what else can they do? Like what can they get better? Like yeah, I think like I said, they're hitting a stride. Obviously the 49ers are
And
the
it
more
just feels like
talented
Sean McVay and
team.
Kyle Shanahan know each other. Like
That
those
too. I mean,
traditional
yeah,
games and
it's a
games
chess
where
match. It's a chess match.
it
But,
is. And I
you
feel like
know,
when we used to say that, we used to be able to say like Kyle Shanahan is always on Sean McVay's head. But I agree
yeah,
with that commentator. There's a little bit of PTSD where you're like, well, I guess every once in a while Sean McVay can get it.
that
Um,
that's just not one I'd want to play because Stafford looks better this year. He looks healthier this year than he did last year. And I don't know. I just think it'd be interesting, but
and they
not in the go.
only
Like
lost
it
when
make me
we played the
stress.
Rams. When we played the Rams earlier this season, what was the score? I just heard
Yeah, that
someone
was
talking about this.
was that week 4
Yeah.
or
Well,
yeah, week
hold
4
on.
because that was the week
Yeah, so
before we
the
played the
49ers,
Cowboys.
I'm sorry, the Rams only lost by 7, and that was without Cooper Kupp.
That was without Cooper Cup,
And
and
like
they
they
hadn't
weren't in their
really
squad.
like figured out their roster yet. Like they hadn't really like. There's a lot of young players again, like I said, and I don't know. There's just been a lot that they've figured out since then, and so that's why
Yeah.
they're where they're at right now.
And then what about the Cowboys? How do you, because Dak Prescott has the opportunity to be a good quarterback. The reason that the Cowboys don't scare me, one, complete lack of physicality and I know that the 49ers, when we came off that Ravens game, people were like, okay, well, the 49ers as tough as we think they are, but compared to Dallas, the 49ers definitely beat them in the toughness department. And then also I just Mike McCarthy in the playoffs. They've just had the most hilarious endings the last 2 years. I just feel like I even in that last game that they ended up winning, that his clock management was crazy. You just said you didn't watch that game. They had the opportunity to not even let the Lions have the ball again, and Mike McCarthy just like kicked a field goal randomly. He was so bad at closing out that game that I just feel like it is one of those teams that, although will be, in my opinion, a good game, I have confidence that the 49ers could win that matchup. So I'm not as scared of the Cowboys as I am for the Ravens when we're talking, or for the Rams when we're talking NFC.